we have to say. Okay, now we have to go for next topic is droughts. Next, what is wet drought? First, you have to see. Droughts can be defined as water supply dries up, crop fails to grow, animal die, malnutrition, and ill efforts. Ill health becomes widespread. Then you have to go for causes of droughts. First causes deficiency of rainfall. Second causes in India around 68% of the country is prone to drought in varying degrees. Okay. Now we have to go for next one. What are the environmental efforts of drought? First point you have to say salinization of soil, groundwater decline, increased pollution of freshwater ecosystems, and regional acquisition of animal species. Next one. This is the diagram represent for drought. Okay. Next one. We have to go for flood. We have to see the definitions. An overflow of a large amount of water beyond its normal limits, especially over rockfall. That is called floods. Next one, efforts of floods. Efforts of floods, first point, especially in rural areas, floods result in the outbreak of serious epidemics, especially malaria and cholera. Scarcity of water also arises. In India is one of the most flood prone countries in the world. The average rainfall in India is 1150 mm with a significant variation across the country. Okay, next one. This is the diagram represent for floods in the place of Mumbai. In the year of 2006, the flood name is urban flooding. The main cause of floods are heavy rainfall, inadequate capacity of rivers to carry the high flood discharge, inadequate drainage to carry away the rainwater quickly to streams, rivers, ice, jams, or landslides blocking streams. Cyclones also causes floods. Next one, flash floods. First one, due to high rate of water flow, due to poor permeability of the soil, vulnerability to floods. Next one, natural disasters is caused by the high population density, widespread poverty, unemployment, illiteracy, enormous pressure on rural lands, and economic traditionally dominated by agriculture. Next one, for children and women are particularly vulnerable. 85% of the dead during disasters are of women and children. Center for Research on the Epidemiology of Disasters CRED 02000. Next one, non-structural measures improves the preparedness of floods and reduce loss. The necessity of structural measures would always remains to reduce the extent of physical damage caused by floods. Next one, this is a diagram represent for floods only. Flood management program in the year of 2009 to 2010. Major disaster in India since in the year of 1970. You have to see disasters in. We have two top ground. One is a disaster, another one is impact. Cyclone. First, you have to see cyclone. 29th October 1971, Orissa. Cyclone tidal waves killed 10,000 people. 19th November in the year of 1977, Andhra Pradesh. Cyclone tidal waves killed 20,000 people. 29th and 30th October 1999, Orissa cyclone tidal waves killed 9,000 and 18 million people are affected. Earthquake, 20th October 1991, Uttarkasi on earthquakes of magnitude 6.6 killed 723 people. 30th September 1993, Latur, approximately 8,000 people died and there was heavy loss to infrastructures. 22 May 1997, Jabalpur, 39 people dead. 29th March in the year of 1997, Chamoli, dead. Okay, next we have to go for July 1991 in the place Assam, 300 people killed, heavy losses to roads and infrastructure. August 1993, Nagaland, 500 people killed and more than 200 houses destroyed and about 5 kilometers road damaged. In the year of 1998, 18th August, Malappa, 210 people killed, villages were washed away. Floods in 1978 floods in northeast India, 1994 floods in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Goa, Kerala and Gujarat. More than 2,000 people killed and 1,000 people affected. In the year of 1978 floods in northeast India, 3,800 people killed, heavy losses to property. Okay. Next, you have to see types of floods. In types of floods, you can classify into four types: low flood level, medium flood level, high flood level, unprecedented flood level. Okay, we have to see one by one. Low flood level. It is that flood situation when the water level of the river is flowing between warning level and the danger level of the forecasting stations. Next one, medium flood stage, when its water level is at above the danger level of the forecasting station but between below 0.50 meters of its highest flood level. Okay. Next one, high flood level stage, when the water level of the river is below the high flood level but within 0.50 meters of the high flood level of the forecasting stations. Next one, unprecedented floods, when it is attained water level equal to or above its previous high flood level or any forecasting stations. Next one, damaged house in the year of December 2004 and reconstruction of house in the place of Nagapattinam in the state of Tamil Nadu in the year of September 2005. You see this diagram. And then this is the prevention and mitigations for disaster management. Next one, causes of disasters. The cause of disaster, first one is India is vulnerable to extreme weather events. Severity of such events have increased. Weathers can be classified into so many factors. One is impact, socio-economic losses, environmental degradations, long-term damages. With more than 70% of India population is relying on agriculture directly or indirectly, the impact of extreme weather on human life and other living beings is critical in the state of Orissa. Next one, worldwide view of damage caused by natural disasters. One is a type of natural disaster around the world, damage caused by natural calamities in percentage. One is floods, damage caused by natural calamities 32%, tropical cyclones 30%, droughts 22%, earthquakes 10%, other disasters 6. Okay. Next, what are the efforts of disasters? Primary events, it is also called as P events. Secondary events, it is also called as S events. Okay. Now we have to say primary events. What are the efforts of disasters? One is cold wave, fog, snow streams, avalanches, thunderstorms, dust storms, tropical cyclones, tidal waves. Next, you have to go for in primary events. You have to see the efforts of disaster. One is flood, heavy rain, droughts, hydrological, meteorological, agriculture. Next one, secondary events, efforts of disasters, incidents of epidemics or disease, urban and rural water shortage, crop plantation failures or harvest failures, malnutrition and or undernutrition and hungers, landslides, salinator institutions and flood loss. Next one, tropical cyclones. In tropical cyclones, we have to see the major natural disasters that affect the coastal region of India is cyclone because India has a coastal line of about 7,506 kilometers. Next point, we have to see it is exposed to nearly 10% of the world tropical cyclones. About 78% of this area is in 10 states: Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, and West Bengal. Okay. Now we have to go for next one. The islands of Andaman, Nicobar, and Lakshadweep are also prone to cyclones. When a cyclone approaches the coast, the risk of a serious loss or damage arises from severe winds, heavy rains, storms such as river floods. Next one. The diagram represents for landslides at Darjeeling in the year of 2010. Next one, we will see landslides. Reducing the landslide risk and vulnerability in the hilly district prone to landslides, mud flows, and risk arising out of disaster in landslides. Next one, this is the diagram representing for the place of Assam, Doria Bridge in the state of India. Sorry. Next, you have to go for tsunami. What is a tsunami? You have to see or series of waves generated in a body of waves by impulse disturbance. What is a tsunami? It is a Japanese word with the English translation harbor wave. The term Sulu means harbors and Nami means wave. Okay. Okay, next you have to go for fire. The topic name is fire. First of all, the overall objectives of the fire is to strengthening the fires plan period, the state governments are contribute 40.23 crores in the share. Next one, components of the scheme for strengthening of fire and emergency service. I have to show the third column. What are the components used for strengthening of fires? How much funds allotted in strengthening of fires? First one, awareness generation, school safety program, 4.38 crores. Fire hazard and risk analysis, 10 crores. Project monitoring and project management and monitoring, 2.50 crores. Training of trainers in advanced course of collapsed structure in the place of Nagpur, 5 crores. Next one, forest fire management. Fire prevention, detection and suppression activities are state subjects. The central government has been formulating policies, planning and financing the state from time to time. The central government has issued by the National Forest Fires Prevention and Control Guidelines and also worked on a national master plan on forest fire control. Next one, write the example for oil companies. I have to give the examples. An example is the central government has issued the National Forest Fire Prevention and Control Guidelines and also worked on national master plan on forest fire control. This is the example for fire oil companies. Next one, you have to go for next topic, that is climate change. In climate change, it refers to changing process, practice and structures to moderate potential damages. Benefits from opportunities associated with climate change, adjusting ecological, social or economic systems in response to actual or expected climatic stimuli and the efforts or impacts. Adapting development to gradual changes in average temperature, sea level, precipitations. Okay. Next one, increase in the global average of air and oceans temperature, precipitation and extreme rainfall. Widespread melting of snow and ice and storms such as coastal flooding, rising global mean sea levels. Climate change is expected to increase frequency and intensity of current extreme weather events. Next one, reducing and managing the risk associated with more frequent, severe and unpredictable extreme weather events. Frequency and intensity of current extreme weather events give rise to new vulnerabilities. Next, you have to go for social economic impact on communities. Next one, you have to go for global trends in disasters. In global trends in disasters, first one, you have to development and relief agencies have long recognized the important role played by data and information in mitigating the impact of disasters on vulnerable populations. Systematic collection and analysis of this data provides invaluable information to government and agencies in charge of relief and recovery activities. Next, we have to go for in global trends in disasters. One is pre-disaster planning, formulation of plan of action for relief, public health engineering, information system. Next one, we have to give the training, public work department, civil supplies, emergency phase, voluntary agencies, restoration phase. Next one, pre-disaster planning, identification analysis of past disaster plan. Next one, formulation of plan of action for relief, plan for setting up communication networks, planned recording warning system, extraction plans, plans for transportation facilities, plans for storage of food, plans for medical relief, plans for construction of relief shelters. Okay. Next one, you have to see the preparation phase, setting up the organization, initialization of political decisions, allocation of adequate finance, appointment of immediate subordinate and staffs, setting up office, formulation of committee district level, formulation of committee talk level. Okay. Next one, assessment survey, collection of meteorological data, collection of data on damages caused by previous cyclone, identification of vulnerable areas, available communication, transport facilities, number of Paka building that can be used for shelters. Next one, you have to existing medical facilities, determination of standard of living, identification of voluntary agencies, establishing contact with national and other relief organization, analysis of data collected, number of people, number of plants and animals that may be affected, determination of priorities and resource allocation. Okay. Next one, Formulation of plan of action for relief. One is democratization of duties of government agencies. Next one, identify essential medicines, setting up mobile medical teams, arranging for essential medicines, providing first aid kits, arranging medical and paramedical persons, arranging ambulance and motor boats, arranging civic role to health inspectors, training medical and paramedical persons. Next one, you go for civil supplies, detailed survey of food availability and processing facilities, storage of food grains, cloths, blanket and firewood, storage of food for cattle, procurement of seed, fertilizers and insecticides. Next one, emergency phase, information from meteorological departments about the impending cyclone, warning signals through air, TV, accurate sirens, flag hosting, warning through public address system throughout the community, accession of people to predetermined places. Next one, shifting movable properties and safety boxes, livestock to shelters, switch off power supply, occurrence of cyclones, request by boat and airlifting, giving first aid if necessary, moving request people to shelter for food and medicine. Next one, we have to go for voluntary agencies. In voluntary agencies, what do you have to help the peoples? You have to supply of drinking water, emergency mass feeding, disposal of dead bodies, preliminary damage assessment, accounting for dead and missing person, accounting for property loss. Next one, restoration phase, maintenance of sanitation standard, chlorinating wells in flooded areas, restoration of water supply, restoration of power supply, collecting money for plates and clothing, detailed damage assessment, planning for reconstruction, financial assistance to affected people, rehabilitation of people in temporary houses. Next one, you have to go for training. In training, what do you do? Training block officers at district level, training of young volunteers at block level, education and training of community for preparedness, training people to handle affected groups. Okay.
Disaster types and effects. You might have heard the news of earthquakes, cyclones, terrorist attacks, failure of atomic power plants, etc. These are dangerous events that happen without our knowledge. We call them disasters. United Nations has defined disaster as the sudden event that leads to huge loss of life and property. From this definition, we understand two main characteristics of disasters. The first one is that it is all of sudden event which happens without our knowledge. And the second is it causes huge loss to the life, property as well as to the entire environment. As disasters occurs unpredictably, therefore it is not possible to take precautions. Note that disasters are different in terms of nature of disaster, period of each disaster, and extent of damage it can cause. Let's try to classify them. One way to classify disaster is natural disasters and man-made disasters. A natural disaster is an adverse event that results from natural processes of the earth. It could be earthquakes, volcanoes, flood, drought, cyclones, etc. Natural disasters can be further categorized into geophysical, biological, meteorological, hydrological, and climatological disasters. On the other hand, there are man-made disasters which happen due to technological growth. For example, industrial accidents, chemical spills, fire, war, crimes, terrorist activities, etc. Man-made disasters can be accidental or intentional. Because of disaster, the life in respective area suffer a lot. Some of the disasters are catastrophic, which takes place all of a sudden and cause great damage, but the recovery takes place in short time. For example, nobody can forget the earthquake of Gujarat and Latur, but now the life in these areas returned to normal. There are other disasters whose impact remains for long duration. Such disasters remain severe or severity increases even after it happens. Other examples include desertification, various problems of crop, global warming, and rising level of oceans, etc. Broadly speaking, disasters affect medical, economic, social, environmental, political, and administration areas of life. Once a life is gone, it is gone. There is no chance of recovery. Others suffer from mental stress, injuries, etc. Mental stress often leads to social health issues. Demand for food, water, and other resources give rise to clashes in the society. The spreading of diseases often create unhealthy environment. Collapsing of bridges, buildings, road transport, railways, etc. cause great economic loss. It causes decrease in productivity and increase in expenditure for recovery. Disasters also lead to pollution of land, air, and water resources, causing various environmental problems. There are problems in functioning of administration because of stress on workers, failure of transport system, and other facilities. The damage to governmental system leads to political problems as well. These are all effects of disaster.